Hi, this is Dave from Heroes Needed, just one of the many fine shows you can find on the Nod Network. Visit us on nerdod.com or subscribe on iTunes, Google Podcasts, or Spotify, or wherever else you get your favorite podcasts.
Well, Lewis says, you can really do a smithing course. You could do a blacksmithing course. I'm like, yeah, but it's not the same. I don't want to actually make a sword in real life. I want to do it in the game and get rich and gather my money and stuff. I'm nuts. I'd play the game like a crazy person.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Nerd OD podcast. I'm Dan.
I'm Dave.
And I'm Reg.
Boom.
Hey.
Nailed it.
If this is your first time listening, you'll wonder why we are so excited. Because that is the first time in, what are we on now? Episode 15, 16, something like that, where there's been more than two of us, where we've managed to intro well.
Yeah. Well done, guys. We can call it a day. Let's sign off.
That's it. Thank you.
That's
Thanks very much for listening.
Yeah, we'll be back for season 3 in another 18 months. How is everyone?
I'm doing all right. Apart from... I was talking to some people before about Assassin's Creed, specifically Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Now, those that know me know that I'm not big on the Assassin's Creed games. I'm not gonna slate them. I'm not gonna trash them. People enjoy them. That's cool. Didn't really enjoy it. Was never my thing. Tried the first couple, then I gave up. That's probably my problem. Some people told me that some of the later games are really, really good, but I just never got that far. But I was talking to someone before, a couple of friends chatting about it, and they were talking about Valhalla, which it feels to me, I don't know if we spoke about it last time, it feels like Far Cry, same game, reskinned, but that's their business model, so I'll let them do it. But there was a thing in there which, I'm just going to bring up the message because I don't want to get the name of this thing wrong, but there's a part in it where you can apparently actually carry out the equivalent of like a Viking rap battle. Yeah. Apparently it's called flighting, and it was a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
Viking rapping.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. And I haven't watched the video for it, but there's a video which shows the mechanic, and I'm working on secondhand information here, but apparently it looks a bit, you make your own decisions. But I must say that I don't think the Assassin's Creed games are particularly brave because they're just reskinning the same thing, as far as I'm concerned. However, it's pretty fucking brave to include rap battles in a game about Vikings where you're somehow going to fit. And I presume they're keeping the same. Is it still a time-traveling assassin, or is it just a different thing? I don't know. Assassins, but Vikings, but rappers? Fair play there. I'll give you that one. That one is a fairly interesting concept. Whether it's shit or not, I don't know. But it's brave. I'll give them that. It's a bold thing.
It's like they finally were like, we need to do something different. Everyone keeps on saying exactly what Dave just said. And they're like, what can we do? We've got epic battles. We've got the fact you can launch assaults on the forts and stuff. No, that's not good enough. Right, okay, well, how about we expand the world so it's like double the size of Odyssey? Yeah, we should do that, but it's just not enough. We need something that's going to scream, this is brand new, this is Assassin's Creed, this is what you really want. How about some Viking rap battles, guys? I've been listening to hip-hop while I've been doing the programming, and I think this would be quite good.
Do you know what it is?
It's part they want the sea shanty mechanics, don't they, from the older games?
I couldn't help but think, and this is the cynical part of me, but I couldn't help but think they went, ooh, everyone's going really crazy over Hamilton again. Let's put some rap in it. And it's like, guys, just because that works doesn't necessarily mean that rap in everything works. It's not. That's not how this thing. That's not how it doesn't make sense. Like, oh, they rap in that thing about the founding fathers, and therefore, rapping with Vikings must be great. No one ever said that. Don't do that.
It is mad. Like I watched the Ubisoft presentation of everything, and then I watched the deep dive of the gameplay of the 30 minutes that they shown, which was basically a dragged out version of that leak of the really low footage and stuff. And yeah, it to be fair, it looks like Odyssey but it's hard for it not to be. That's the issue you've got with Assassin's Creed, because it's got this identity which, everyone now expects for Assassin's Creed to be like, and it's hard to break away from that. I'm not defending them in the slightest, because I think it's not a great model, so to speak. But when they start showing you the new stuff they've added into it, you can just go on any like YouTube and just see like the brand new mechanics that they bring into it, and like the combat in it looks a lot different now, like a lot more tactical, which is great. It's hard for it to be a stealth game when you're playing fucking rampaging, ravaging fucking Vikings, which is ridiculous. It's still in there. Like the minute and there's stealth, and then she puts up the hood, and it's like the Assassin's Creed like hood. I'm like, is that your stealth mechanic? Is like, right, okay, yeah, don't worry, the hood's still there. But they've now got like the Viking equivalent of a grappling hook. It's like they call it the harpoon, like it's like a harpoon spear type thing, which you can use. And it's brutal. Like it does look brutal. You can bring them in for like close executions, and you can decapitate people. You can launch them into other enemies and that sort of stuff.
So much for stealth now, eh?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But the AI has got a hell of a lot smarter. So in normal Assassin's Creed games, like obviously Dave, you already played the first like one or two. Dan, I know you played a few more. They started off by literally just standing still and going like, what's here? And then eventually you'll fight them and they'll have the same two moves. And it was the same for like the first 2 or 3 Assassin's Creeds, to be fair. There wasn't really a great deal of combat. It's the worst part because it was a stealth game. But now they're like, right, okay, it's a lot action oriented because that's what we found out like to do in these. So they tried mixing it up a little bit. And like in Odyssey, it was good. It was all right. It was, it was better than what it had been. But this one, it looks brilliant. Like the AI, they will, if you're in the forest, for example's sake, they will run and try and use the trees for cover and hide behind and try and flank you from that. And when you go to attack them, they'll literally use the tree so that your blades and stuff will go into the tree. If they're running and they find rocks, they'll pick up the rocks and launch the rocks at you to try and distract you and hit you, and then they can come in for the attack. If you kill their mate, they'll use their mates as shields. There's put in so much intricate detail into the combat. So it's like if they've got shields, you can't just use your normal like axe to go for it. You'll get stuck in the shield, so you've got to try and think outside the box and how you're going to break down the shields and that sort of stuff. And all that's great, but it's not stealthy at all. No. But like look, all these huge, amazing battles, and like it does look beautiful because obviously they showed me the PS5 version, so it looks beautiful. But it doesn't. Like Assassin's Creed has really lost the assassin part in it. It's now just like this one, just murderous Vikings.
Yeah, it's just an action game franchise.
Vikings.
Rapping murderous Vikings. Yeah, it's just an action franchise now, isn't it? But it's tricky as well because it comes at quite a tough time because Ubisoft just had a massive scandal as well, haven't they? So it's they've not got great PR right now for a new game to be coming out.
No, is it the creative director of Assassin's Creed that's left? I can't remember his exact job, but
3 senior executives have all gone. So it's not a good time for that.
It's just I think it's just, in fairness, it's just Ubisoft that's completely lost the way. Because if you look at Ghost Recon as well, like Ghost Recon on the PC, and then when it moved to the original Xbox, those were some of my favorite titles. Like they were genuinely, you set off, you've got to like preload, like do your loadout exactly how you think that mission is going to pan out. There's no getting around it. You've got to premeditate everything you think is going to happen. And then when you actually go in and do the missions, they were amazing. You were like that stealth unit, went in there, got the job done, got out dead quick, clean, crisp. And now you've got the likes of Breakpoint and Wildlands, which is why I was like, you know what, I'm out. I tried it for so long, Wildlands, and it's just you dumped in the middle of a massive jungle. And it's like, right, take out this outpost, right, take out the next outpost. It's like you can try and go in stealthy, but everyone's going to see you because they've got drones and helicopters and tanks. And it's like, you've got to take them all out. There's no stealth element to it at all. It's nothing like what it used to be. It's just go and attack things in this action game, like Mercenaries.
I was just thinking when you said that, I was thinking, oh yeah, I've not played a Ghost Recon game since I think it was it was either Advanced Warfighter 2 or Future Soldier, like a good few years ago. But I was just thinking, God, my problem is that they've made so many games. And I just had a quick look, and there are, off this count here, 16 Ghost Recon games. 16 of them scattered across PCs and consoles from 2001 onwards. 16 games in the span of what looks to be 18 years. How can you get... This is my big thing with games, game developers and publishers. How can you get quality if you're going to release that many games in the same series? Now, I know that's a number of different platforms and a number of different engines and all the rest of it, but ultimately, you can change bits of them, but they're combat games where there's a bit of stealth sometimes, or not in the recent ones. You look at the Elder Scrolls games. It's going to be 10 years between Elder Scrolls games. That's nuts. So much can change in that time. Because I recently got Skyrim Special Edition for the Xbox One, and it's still such a great game. That game is 9 years old, and it holds up. And I'm also playing the new version, so I can use mods, which I've never done before, because I've never played on a PC before.
Have you now got Macho Randy Rand Savage as the dragon?
Oh, very tempting to do that.
So good.
Thomas the Tank Engine.
That's good as well, but it's all about Macho Man. Just that, oh yeah, when he breathes fire is just the best thing in the world.
I'll look for that. No, I added one thinking I was being clever, because I had read about someone playing it in a more realistic fashion. Kind of like those kind of hardcore modes you get and survival modes. Fallout New Vegas had it.
Yeah, with the water and stuff.
Yeah, you need to eat and drink and sleep and stuff. I thought, you know what? There's a mod for that for Skyrim. I'm like, I'll give it a go. Make it more realistic. I've got to have meals and I've got to have a bed. And then I realized that makes this game fucking hard. because the whole point of Skyrim is that you could go wandering off into the wilderness for days. And now I've got to think about taking rations and provisions and a bedroll. And it's like, I didn't think this through. And now I'm too scared to remove the mod in case I break everything that's happened so far. So.
Nice, it just ruined the experience for yourself completely.
Yeah. But no, it's like... But it's the one thing. It's weird. Like they go, okay, you need to eat and drink and the rest of it. But they make the food and water is fairly abundant, but you have to have it. So it's that weird thing of like you've always probably got it to hand, unless you don't, in which case you're dead.
See, and that's the nice thing, because at least they've done it correctly, where if you do need to eat and drink, but it's actually at required times. It's not like every 2 seconds when you take a step. Hey, by the way, yes, you're also going to need to eat food, because you've walked 3 steps.
It's just occurred to me. It's just occurred to me saying that I forgot that my character got bitten by a wolf at the very beginning of the game and has a disease that I need to cure, which I haven't. And it's just occurred to me. That's why his stamina is so low.
7,000 hours in, and I just remembered.
Yeah. No, the problem with that game is I play it too slow, because I'm gathering everything and smithing everything and not letting a single thing lay on the ground. Like if someone drops a weapon, I'm having that weapon. Like it doesn't matter if I'm over encumbered and I have to crawl back. I'm going to do that. I did it the other day, actually. I had so much stuff on me that I'm moving at a snail's pace. I'm like, I'm not dropping a single damn sword. I'm taking it back. I'm smithing it all, getting all this. Because I don't play these games like normal people. I play it like a psychopath, crazy doomsday hoarder. That's how I play it. But
well, as long as you're using it as an outlet for that side of you, that's all that matters.
Well, Lewis says, you can probably do a smithing course. You could do a blacksmithing course. I'm like, yeah, but it's not the same. I don't want to actually make a sword in real life. I want to do it in the game and get rich and gather my money and stuff. I'm nuts. I'd play the game like a crazy person. But yeah, it's an outlet. It's good, right?
Exactly. Precisely. We all need them. Reg needs his original style Assassin's Creed so he can go around stabbing people in the face in a game and not in real life.
That's it. Like I absolutely loved it. I mean, I even I enjoyed Origins, which spoke about this, haven't we? But I ruined it for myself massively, just because he did the Final Fantasy 15 crossover.
Yeah.
With it, where my horse could be the Chocobo, had the Chocobo mount to it, and then the minute that happened, and you got the Final Fantasy 15 weapon. It was just there was no point in stealth, and I'm always stealthy in any game that says, "Hey, you can get out of this without having to kill anyone." Do it. that's how I play it. Like Deus Ex took me ages to do because I went through that entire playthrough without killing a single thing. And like Assassin's Creed, I'd only try and assassinate the ones that needed to be killed. And that's how I used to play. But the second I got that Final Fantasy Chocobo, there was just something inside me that needed me to charge in, just singing the Chocobo theme tune, going da da na 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 na, and then jumping off mid arena and just stabbing everything with the Final Fantasy sword. And that's when I was like, you know what? I've ruined this for myself. Like I know I have, and I had to just give it up. I couldn't finish it because I couldn't take it off. It was just a part of me that no matter how many times I tried taking it off, I was like, it was actually quite fun doing it with the Chocobo. And then I realised it wasn't because the mechanics weren't strong enough to actually just keep doing that. So I was like, yeah, I've completely ruined Assassin's Creed for me. Hence, I never got Odyssey because I was I know it's good, but I just thought,
That's the big thing is games that give you an option. I think it's so important that if a game is going to be sold on the fact that it gives you the option of how you want to play it, that has to stand up. You know what I mean? Like you think about Splinter Cell. That was a game series where you genuinely could be super stealthy all the time, or if you wanted to go guns blazing, you could do that too. It gave you the option, and it didn't penalize you really for choosing either one. Like you got better achievements if you did it stealthily, but you could just blow everyone away, and it was totally fine. And that's the thing for me. Like if you have that, did it very well. Ghost Recon, from what you said, it sounds like it's moved quite a ways away from that now. So now it's just straight up combat. Assassin's Creed, for its flaws that I found in the beginning with it, it was a game where you could sneak around and do stealthy things, and it was, you were an assassin, and now you're a Viking who's going to go and slaughter, I don't know, Christians. I don't know what are you doing? Who are you fighting? Like you're a Viking. And the same thing, if that was my big gripe, and I think I've spoken about this previously, my big gripe with The Last of Us, because The Last of Us, I never finished the first one because I fell in love with it, because it did that thing where it's like, yeah, you need to get from this point to this point. How are you going to do it? And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to sneak through here and do this. No, you can't. Oh, okay, well, I'm going to fight that thing. But you can't. You're going to lose. Okay, well, how can I go that way? No, you can't go that way. Wait, this game is meant to be open. I'm meant to have options. I got to a point where...
They do quite a good job of, like falsely making you feel like you've got a choice, but there is that one direction you can go.
The rails are
exactly
hidden.
What you mean. Yeah, exactly.
But there was one part where like I had to get to this big room, and there was one of those clickers there. I think it was called a clicker, right? I don't know. Mm-hmm. I'm not down with the kids in these current games. I'm playing my 10-year-old games. And I had to get past one of these, and I had like 3 shivs or whatever it is. I had no weapons. And I'm like, okay, well, I need to try and sneak past it because I can't really kill it because it's going to... And I just didn't get a choice. No matter which way I went, no matter how I tried it. And I must have played it like 25 times. Like, I'll go that way. No. I'll go that way. No. Over and over again. I was like, you know what? I'm turning the game off. And we are taking a break. And that break turned into all of time. So, sorry, Last of Us. I don't care how good your story is supposed to be. I am not playing you anymore.
That's the problem. I'm playing 2 now. And I've been... looking forward to it, not quite as much as everyone else, I think, but I'm finding it a bit of a struggle. I'm very much into the story. The story's great, and they always are, all the Naughty Dog games. But it's very repetitive. It is just you're in a bit of the city. There's some clickers that way. You need to avoid them. Oh no, there's some of the human bad guys over there. Oh no, there's these other human bad guys, and it's just going from scene to scene, with a bit of a fight, and then a cutscene, and then a bit of a fight and a cutscene. There's not that much variation in the gameplay. And I had a quick check of where I was. I've been playing for maybe about 6 or 7 hours, something like that. Apparently I've still got about 20 hours left. Really long for a story game. And I can't see me not getting bored of it by that point, by probably about halfway through. Like I say, story-wise and technically, it's amazing. It looks incredible. It plays brilliantly. It's just very samey.
Yeah.
Don't know. Disappointed a little bit. We'll see. You'll probably talk to me next week, and I'll be like, "Oh no, yeah, I've got to the good bit now."
I don't know. It is hard, isn't it? Because, like you said, I suppose it's one of them. I really enjoyed The Last of Us. But again, I think it's one of those that again, it's the story that captivated me, so it kept me through it, and you forget about the really like bad bits and like how shoddy some of the gameplay mechanics were and stuff, because you were just waiting for that next story beat. But that was my issue with Uncharted. I found the Uncharted series just the most copy and paste repeated thing I've played. It's like the fun for like 5 minutes, but they are the most overrated game series. Like it's literally okay. So here's a cutscene. Right now, there's going to be 4 guys running at you from the left. So hide behind that pillar. Cool, you shot them. There's going to be 2 running down the right hand side now, and then 3 come down the middle. Kill them lot. Climb up whatever it is that's in front of you. Repeat cycle, and then there's a puzzle, and then repeat that all the way through. And it genuinely was near enough the same enemy patterns the entire way through every single game in that franchise. And it was like, come on. Like, the story was fun. I could really like the characters, but it was just hard to be like, these games are fantastic. I understand why people solely say this is the best thing that's come out on the PlayStation game, because they weren't. They were all right. But yeah, just so rinse and repeat. It was ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. But I know that's bad coming from me, because most of the games I love to play are very, very similar in that type of sense. So it's, it's popcorn and the kettle black, I suppose. But I've been getting into like the older stuff, much like you. I've been watching loads of the announcements that have coming through from like, so obviously the Ubisoft stuff, like Watchdogs Legion, which is just, again, that looks very, very Watchdog by numbers. But I really enjoyed the first 2. So I was like, yeah, you know what, I will play this. I like the fact that they tried to add something different to it with like tactics and, like you said, ways of playing the game. There's like, you can take over any NPC really in the game and get them onto your side, and then you can utilize them in different ways. So some might be good at stealth, or like you could go with, like, bring one of the bad guy agents into your mix, and you can use them to just basically go in and sneak your way through, because everyone thinks you're one of them, but you're not. You can just go like the football hooligan and just go around like smashing people's heads in. There's every opportunity you can think of, drone pilots, that sort of stuff. So it's like, it's all very fun, very different and very nice. And I was like, yeah, I might watch that. I might play that. And then I watched the interview that they did with the guys from Blizzard over World of Warcraft Shadowlands. And I was like, I haven't played WoW for ages, but it's one of those titles that every now and again I have a massive pang of like, I need to play this. Like, I need it back in my life. And it's like a bit like an addiction, because it very much is.
Well, yeah, any of the games like that, the big games, the big open games like that, World of Warcraft, basically any Elder Scrolls game, like, you play it and you just keep playing it. You just pour time into it. Yeah, I can feel you on that one, because I've poured far too much time into games like that over the years.
That's it. And it's like, when I was watching the thing they were saying about how this is like the perfect jumping in point. They always do for like the new expansion comes out. Like, oh, this is the perfect time to return to the game if you haven't played it, because it's a new expansion. For new players, oh, this is fantastic. And the thing I love about this now, though, is they're like, we understand the game's 16 years old now. I was like, wow, that's been going quite some time and still very popular. But what they've done is there's a dude now in the actual main city of the new land in this expansion, who's basically like a time traveler, so to speak. So you can go speak to him if you want to, once you've done the first like 10 levels of this new area. It bleeds into how they integrate the story of Shadowlands into the existing lore, so you can actually go back and be like, you know what, I want to play Burning Crusade, you know what, I want to play Wrath of the Lich King expansion, and they'll put you back to before Cataclysm, when it changed the entire world and everything was on fire and broken and everything, and you can start working your way back through them in streamlined versions, so you get just the story modes of it building through. And I was like, oh, you know what, that's awesome, because I've been out of it for so long, but Wrath of the Lich King is one of my favourite stories in any media franchise. It's such a good story. It's been done a gazillion times in different ways, but Arthas is just such a great character, and it's just such an amazing way of being told that, yeah, you need to, if you haven't played Warcraft 3, the Frozen Throne or played WoW for Wrath of the Lich King, you need to just have a watch of it. It's fantastic, really good. So chances are I'm probably going to be like, guess what, guys? When it comes out, Frank Bunty's back as the hunter.
Well, speaking of Blizzard, anyway, Jeff Kaplan, if you were listening to this podcast, where's Overwatch 2? What are you doing to me? There's a gameplay trailer came out in November. Like, come on now. It's July now. It's July, Jeff. Bring me Overwatch 2. What are you doing? So there you go. That's that. I want it. Because the thing is, Overwatch it's 5 years old in October, and I have been playing it for I don't know what three of those years, I guess 3 and a bit years of that, and I keep playing it. Like, it hasn't really changed. They've added new maps, added new heroes, but they're not adding any more. They've said that they're not adding any more now because number 2 has been announced. So I'm just going to keep playing it, and I just want that new one. Come on, Jeff. Hook me up. I did a podcast about this. Come on. I'm on your side. I'm an avid League fan. Philly Fusion all the way. Hook me up with Overwatch 2. There you go. That's it. I won't beg anymore. You can't make me beg anymore, Jeff. So he could. I'll beg for it.
Let's hope he listens.
Yeah, there he is.
Yeah, he's got a lot of good feedback there to send back about World of Warcraft and Overwatch.
They make great games.
And maybe he knows some people at Ubisoft, and he can fill them in on.
Hopefully not.
More rap battles and more assassinations.
Yeah, rap or assassination via rap battle.
Yeah,
that would be good.
Imagine
the loser just gets assassinated.
Wow.
I was just reading about Valorant, because I don't really know anything about it. The only thing I know, Valorant, the new game is coming out, the new sort of team-based shooter.
Yes. Sorry,
is it pronounced differently? Have I just gone?
I don't know. I've been reading it as Valorant, but Valorant sounds much better.
Oh, I don't know. I could have gone full boomer on it. I only know it weirdly because last year's Overwatch League MVP, a guy called Sinatra, my mistake. Has moved. He basically quit Overwatch League, and he's gone now to join the first teams that are going to be playing Valorant, because they're assuming that there will be a league for this one because Overwatch League has worked. And I don't know anything about the game apart from that. It's a shooter. It looks a bit like Call of Duty, but if you mix Call of Duty and Overwatch had a baby.
Because it's Riot Games, isn't it? The dudes that brought us League of Legends, I think it is. It's another 5-on-5 multiplayer tactical first-person shooter.
Yeah, I was wondering why they were so confident in saying, we're gonna have a league, but if it's the League of Legends people, absolutely, of course, it's going to be massive.
They've already got the setup for it.
Exactly.
But Sinatra was, he's a World Cup player. He won the Overwatch League with San Francisco Shock. Like, he's a fantastic player. He got named MVP last season. He's got a commemorative Zarya skin in Overwatch for him, which is quite cool. And it's like, oh, now he's retired to go play Valorant now. I was like, what? No. Come on, Sinatra.
That means he's left to go and play that now, a game that's not out yet. That he's got clearly an advanced copy, and he's going to be training. So by the time it launches, it'll be him and a handful of other people who have had the same deal that are going to be absolute top of everyone, surely.
Oh yeah, I mean he's in there at the very, very beginning, and in fairness to him, he did effectively leave at the absolute top of his game. He didn't even play in the league for a few years, but he left as the league winner and the MVP from the team that won the league. Like, he's kind of a very short space of time, but he's bowed out at the absolute kind of best he could be, I guess. So I give him credit for that, but I don't know what this game is, and it makes me sad to lose good players to it. So.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be as big as what they're hoping for, to be honest with you. So I think he'll probably come back.
Maybe.
Very, very shortly.
It's crazy.
When Overwatch 2 comes out.
All these people make ridiculous, amazing deals, like all the stuff that was going on with Mixer, like the Twitch streamers that they paid tens of millions of dollars to go and move over to Mixer. And then that lasted about a year, and then Microsoft, as usual, if something isn't going quite how they planned, they pull the plug on it. they get to keep all their money and then go and get paid by some other company to go and play for them. Mm-hmm. It's just insanity, absolute insanity.
It is. And people are like, there's no money in competitive gaming.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. There is far too much money in competitive gaming.
Well, if in 10 years' time, Oliver said, Dad, I really, really want to be a competitive gamer, we'd all be, either one of them. What would you say?
I would be well happy for him to competitive game if that's what he wants to do. My only issue is I'd be like, what game are you playing?
Yeah.
If he's like, I'm going to be a professional Pokemon champion, I'm like, you know what? Fuck you. You're not playing that.
But Dad, I've got to catch them all. What am I going to do?
You're going to catch nothing as I unplug the consoles. And play video games take you nowhere. Unless it's like, yeah, Dad, I want to play like Counter-Strike or something like that. And I'd be like, yes, son. Yes, you can. Or StarCraft and just watch his little fingers just go magically gliding across the keyboard frantically. Like, that sort of stuff I'm well up for. Until he beats me, and then I'm like, you know what? You're not playing games anymore.
Right, we've had enough.
You're out of here.
I think about gaming is like, I am all for, if B grew up and wanted to be a gamer, I'm like, cool, I am a gamer. But it's that thing of, yeah, but you've got to be really good to get on these esport teams. Like, I watch them play, and it really is absolutely like, how the hell, like, how the reflexes, the precision, it's nuts, right? People go, oh, gaming is not a sport. It's like, come on, man. Oh, a guy can kick a ball into a net. That's impressive. This person can like flick a mouse with the wrist and like zoom in on his tiny little bits of information and like just nail shots that I can't even see when I'm watching it live. I'm like, how the hell did they do that? But they did because they've got the reactions for it and that kind of stuff. It's every bit of sport. I've laid my passions out previously. But it's a sport.
You think about a kid who plays football when they're little. They play it for fun, and then they find they're pretty good at it, and then the parents start to encourage it, and then they train, and then they move on and they become professional footballers. That's what happened to all the professional gamers now. They just found that they really enjoyed playing video games when they were little, and now suddenly they're great. But now we're getting people who are I don't know whether parents are encouraging it but they're actually training to be, they're starting from an early age being like, right, this is what I want to do. This is the career I want. And they're training straight away, just like a sports person would do.
There is. It's insane. I watched a documentary on that Jinx on Sky, and it followed the StarCraft players over in Asia. Korea, sorry, it was in Korea. And literally the agents take them from their parents at like age 8, I think it was. And they move them into a house and they get to see the parents at the weekends as long as they won a set amount of games in that week. They train up and then they get the chance to go see the parents. But they train for like 8-9 hours a day. And they do that every single day. And they live in a team, so they can all bond together and stuff, and they got each other's backs, but
learn each other's tells.
Yeah, but that's it. They don't get to see anyone else do any proper school stuff. Really, it's just all let's focus on this. They make sure obviously they've got the basics down pat, but the parents have to say yes, you can take my kid and do it.
It's weird, isn't it? Because I don't think of Korea being a massive place. Like I don't know what the population of South Korea is, but it seems to be like they just have this knack for just generating competitive stars, and I mean that not just from esports and stuff, because obviously their StarCraft players are legendary, their Overwatch League players are incredible, but also when you look at things like Korean pop music and how that works, like there's a competitive element to that, and they just get people, put them through a system and just generate megastars. It's
decide that's what they're going to do from an early age and train them. 100%. It's the same sort of thing. It's probably just it's a bit more accepted that is a thing you can do. Like say over here you might have kids go into football camp or something like that when they're little, but it's accepted that it's okay for video games and it's okay for dancing and singing and everything and performing. So, whether that becomes more of a thing over here. Like, I know we do, we want our YouTube channel and our podcast and everything to grow, but I can't imagine if my kid says to me, I want to be a professional YouTuber. I don't know what I would say to that.
But yeah, what's up, YouTube?
What up, YouTube? We've already discussed this, haven't we, actually?
No, I think that my thing is, like, I've seen, I've tried social media, I've tried YouTube, I've tried this, I've tried that. Like, if you are going to make a success of that, and there's a lot of people who have, a lot of people who otherwise you wouldn't expect them to have any actual talent, doing very, very well on social media and things. But it's a job. You got to grind it. Like, I was reading an article, this is a couple months ago, I think now at least, about a group of people who had moved. This is pre-lockdown, so yeah, they'd moved into a house together. It was like 6 or 7 of them. They'd moved into a house together, and the goal was they all wanted to get famous on TikTok. So they all sort of combined together to support each other in making content solely for TikTok. And they wound up, they each had millions of followers, and they had like endorsement opportunities, and they could like post ad videos and stuff and get paid for it, because they'd all just like, one of them would go, oh, I've got an idea for this thing, and they'd kind of work it out, and then someone else would help them film it and do this stuff, and then they'd help them do something else, and they would share their stuff and like support each other that way. But it was a job. They had to put the work in to do that, and it's nuts, because I think about it as the family I think mentioned before, quite famous online, the AB family, who are a Canadian family who were massive on Vine when that was a thing, and doing little funny videos and stuff. And now, I mean, they do videos on Facebook and TikTok and whatever else from their house, and it is nuts. Like, they have made bank off of this. Like, they have done so well, and it's because they've treated it like a job. And in doing so, their kids have gotten a bit famous just through osmosis. So now their kids can do stuff. The daughter is a pop star now, and she's putting songs out.
Toured with Walk Off the Earth.
Yeah, exactly. Which is like, I mean, I can't think of a lot of massive Canadian bands. We do talk about one of them quite a bit on this podcast.
Really? So, which one?
I'm not going to dignify that with a response, Reg.
Rude.
But yeah, the idea of sort of that kind of churn mentality of like, got to produce content, and if you do it well, you can get quite far, it seems, but it does seem like a hell of a lot of work. The kind of level of work where it feels like it would be less fun. So you're kind of thinking like, well, hang on, what's the point? Is it to get paid, or is it to have fun? Because I don't really think you can necessarily do both with some of these things.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that with the streaming, because like you said, if someone misses a day off, like because they're ill or something, they lose thousands of followers, because like, oh, you haven't put any content out for me to watch today, and like,
yeah, let's go and watch this guy. Oh, he's good.
It's been a day. It's like one day. If you think, I played Hearthstone for like 13 hours yesterday for you guys' entertainment, like, I need to go get some breakfast, and someone logs on at 9 o'clock and like, what? You're usually on at 9 o'clock. Well, fuck you. I'm going to watch someone else then. And you might have just been 2 minutes late. That's it. You've lost that person forever because they've gone to watch somebody else. And that's how fickle the internet is, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's
and it's crazy. Like, I remember when in the inaugural season of sorry, I couldn't say that word. It's all there. Of the Overwatch League, there was a player called Seagull. And he actually left before the first season. I think it was the first season was finished, because he realized that he could actually be more successful if he just carried on streaming. Because he had been a Twitch streamer before he became a League player, and he realized that he could play more and get more fans and earn more if he just carried on doing his streaming instead. So he left before the end of the first series. The season, it's like, okay. At the time, I was like, that's nuts. And I was thinking, well, hang on. I've now seen some of what some of these players can actually make off of streaming, and it's like, oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah, I can see that now.
Yeah, I think last week we were talking about it on the pod about those like 6 YouTubers who bought a mansion in America just to train in. Just to play their games, and you've got like bedrooms just to stay over for when they do the like late night streams and stuff. But it's showing you it, and it's something worth, I want to say it's 12.5 million or something. And they literally walk in and be like, yo, it's your boys from like the originals or something. I think it's called. I don't remember because I was too busy going, what the fuck? But they're like, yeah, so, we bought this, and the realtor was like, yeah, all these wines are at least like 200 years old or something ridiculous. And it's like, but what we're willing to do, sponsors, is take that out, and you can have the wines, and you can have your brand in there for like 20,000 a month or something stupid like that it was. And apparently, like a week after this video was done, the whole entire house was filled with sponsored shit. All these companies going 20 grand a month. Yeah, right, let's take that from them. Just so they could have their picture where the wine rack used to be. And I'm like, how are these guys? Because I was watching one of them. One of them was he's a beat 'em up player, like a Street Fighter player. And I was like, the one competitive game I could definitely do is Street Fighter Alpha 3, or at least 2D beat 'em ups is my jam. Like fighting games, I'm good at. Like I don't want to brag, but I am very good at them. 3D, awful. 2D, great. But I watch some of these competitive Street Fighter players and Tekken players and stuff. I'm like, how are you like the best of the best? Because you're fucking awful. Like if you watch some of the Evo competitions and you're just like, I could easily outdo you on this. Like Smash Brothers, definitely not, because that's like a whole other level of craziness. But stick it in Street Fighter 4 or 5 now it is, and fucking go back to Alpha 3, which is the best fighting game of all time ever. Like I could happily go in the competitive circuit and watching this guy in this mansion be like, oh yeah, I'm just going to throw out a few training things. And it was as though he knew like 3 combos, and that's all he did the entire time. And I'm just like, you're just spamming your moves. You're not a competitive player. You're a spammer. And there's nothing worse in a fighting game than a fucking spammer. It's like the FPS equivalent of a camper. Fucking everyone hates you.
Mm-hmm. I would be a spammer because I've never been any good at fighting games. That's me. I'm the guy who just mashes punch and kick over and over again until eventually I lose or you lose.
Kick. It's all in the mind.
If you test me, I'm sure you find the thing's a teacher, the sure to beat you, but nevertheless, it comes a lesson from teacher. Now kick, punch, block. Right.
I guess.
Thanks, Reg.
Every time someone starts that, I have to finish it off. It's the same as the Lisa Mafia thing. I always have to do it.
Don't start him. That was him practicing for playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
I wish. Well, have you, speaking of YouTube stars and gaming videos and stuff, have you seen that the EA have been like, we need to get involved in fucking televised
a reality gaming?
Yeah.
Are you getting
the Sims sparked?
Yes.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
The thing is, though, it looks bad enough that it's piqued my interest.
Hang on, I've missed this.
With The Sims.
I've missed this.
So basically, it's got the talking head bits in that they like to put in everything now.
Yeah, shows. American reality TV shows.
And there's 3 judges, and the judges will walk out and be like, right, okay, today's challenges, we want you to make a meaningful, sentimental story that you had previous memories about or something. And one of them did a family of like whose father passed away. And then they did it all from him being old and stuff, and then dying, and then the funeral, and then how they dealt with it. But you get 2 hours to create it, so they're like, go, and you've got to build a house and everything in this 2 hours. And it's like $100,000 at the end of this show for the winner. But it's crazy. It's absolutely insane.
I'm not going to lie to you. That actually sounds great. I think I'd actually watch that.
But I think it will get watched. I know I'm going to watch it. So like, I'm intrigued. Like Ash loves The Sims. I know she had no interest because she was like, "Oh my god, what is this?" But I know if we stick it on, she'll watch it. And especially now, I don't have the Switch now because she's got Animal Crossing. Like I'm like, what do I do? So I'll just start watching random stuff on the telly. Like I did get Layers of Fear, which came out on the PS4 and I think on the Xbox One and PC. They've done the VR version of it now for the Quest, Dave.
Really?
It's awesome. It's creepy as all hell, but it's awesome. So now I'm like, what do I do? Because Dan's got my PS4. She's got the Switch, and I'm like, right, didn't see this coming at all. Hence why I was like, I wonder if my work laptop will run WoW. Will run WoW. Doesn't at all. My graphics card's nowhere near good enough for my work laptop. So I'm like, well, I won't be playing WoW anytime soon. So it's either live in the VR or Ash is just like, I forgot sometimes Ash is in the room when I'm like, yeah, by the way, I've got this guy doing this. I'm like, oh shit, it's pitch black in here, so I can't see Ash. And then I look up and I'm like, oh yeah. Oh, thank you. Ash says I look really handsome in the light of the laptop.
Oh. Let's get Reg, you're a good looking man. We know this.
Why do we only do an audio podcast?
Oh,
we might get
you know what is great though? Finally, I went and had like a proper professional haircut on Saturday, and then I went to the pub and had a beer in the pub.
No way.
And it was delightful.
I bet.
It was great. We didn't stay out long because we didn't want to be those people that just got absolutely smashed and was like, right, let's like take full time with it and like fully embrace it. We had a couple of nice beers, and then we came home just like. She played Animal Crossing. Oh, you know what I did want to talk about, and what we did do. We wasted an entire evening of our free time watching the brand new Netflix series You The Origins.
Oh, have you watched that now?
Oh my days!
Yeah.
Oh my days!
It's The Grudge, basically, for people who are unaware.
Yeah, it's. Ash was like, you should tell people not to watch it now. And I'm like, yep, it is fucking terrible.
I have seen the clip that everyone's talking about.
The baby one.
Baby, yeah.
Right. Yep. So that's episode 4.
Okay.
Each episode goes on for half an hour. No more, no less.
Are they different stories?
Yes.
Each one?
But they all blends into the one story arc, but it tries to follow tidbits, but then also have like unique bits as well. Like each episode will follow a different character that's going on to or something, but the end game is, everything that sort of happens to the origins of this house, which, yeah, as you said, is based on The Grudge. So you'd expect to have little boy doing the creepy fucking thing, and the crazy woman with the really dark hair, who's like all sorts of fucked up and does crazy shit. Mm-hmm. You'd expect to see them in it, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Well, you're wrong.
Okay.
You're absolutely wrong. You'd expect there to be lots of creepy, scary, fucked up shit in the series, wouldn't you? Yeah. But you're wrong.
It's a Japanese horror series based on The Grudge. That's exactly what I'm expecting to see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was crap. So it's badly dubbed because it's in English over here. There's no option.
There's no sub.
There's no sub. It's purely dub. And the acting is just, oh wow, my days. It's just horrendous all the way through it. There's like four good bits in the entire thing, which give me like a little bit of a whoo. But that's it. And out of, I think there's 6 episodes in it, and each one's only half an hour. But we were sitting off going like, oh, right, okay, let's get some drinks, let's have some snacks, let's put something on Netflix, something really funny or like scary or, just something, because we can now. We can just watch it and be like, yeah, let's chill out, because all of us are the grandparents and we can just do what we want to do. Mm-hmm. Like, brilliant. It's like, oh, you on this is all based around The Grudge, this will be awesome. And she's like, yeah, go on, stick it on then. So we watched it. And then she's like sort of zoned out after the first 2 minutes and was like, yeah, let's fucking go to my island on Animal Crossing because this is awful. I was like, okay. And then I watched it all the way through, the first one. I was like, that was bad, but I sort of want to know what sort of...
Reg, you do have your 3 episodes rule, don't you? So.
Well, no, speaking of... I wanted to find out what happened. So Lou and I watched... we saw a show on iPlayer, and we were like, ooh, this looks interesting. Interesting cast, looks exciting. It was The Luminaries with Ava Green. And have you watched it?
We got through 2, and then I couldn't even get to the 3rd one. So like, this is just awful. I can't follow it. Bye.
So we finished it yesterday because we got as far as the last episode, and we thought, well, we have to see it through. We have to see how it ends to see how they possibly wrap this up in a way that makes any kind of sense. We have to do it. And we did it. And each episode is an hour long. And there's 6 of them. and finished it yesterday, and all I could think was, I have never seen something ever, I don't think, look so good whilst doing so little, because you had a good cast, you had a beautiful location. New Zealand looks amazing. However, you have a story that doesn't make any fucking sense. You've got characters who have no likability, no instincts of self-preservation. None of them actually seem to care about anything or themselves. Everyone just kind of gives up and goes, oh, well, I guess I'm fucked. And it's like, wow, what are you talking about? Do something. And this whole like magical, metaphysical angle that they play throughout the whole series is like, ooh, this thing's happening. And it doesn't actually mean, sorry, spoilers. Sorry, I realize people might not have watched it, but don't. Just don't. Because they
I've never even heard of it.
Well, don't watch it. There you go. Honestly, like there's this whole like magical, metaphysical thing that they, you know, when a TV series does that opening recap, and you presume that what they're recapping is something that's going to be important to the story. It isn't. It isn't. There's a thing about two characters sharing this bond. The bond doesn't mean anything. Nothing actually happens. I don't understand. I'm still like mad that I gave 6 hours of my life to this show for it to do nothing. I mean, it's based on a book, and I can only hope that the book does a better job of telling the story, because if not, the best thing about this show is the intro sequence that was a bit Game of Thrones-esque and was quite pretty. The rest of it, absolutely maddening. I've not left a show or film for quite some time. It's left me feeling so raw and like hard done by, like I've been wronged somehow by watching this, because I'm watching it and I'm all the way through. The first episode, I'm like, okay, I've got questions. It's a bit mixed up, but it's the first episode. I'm sure it will get better. There. And then I'm 3-4 episodes in, and I'm like, okay, well, what happened to that character? And why are they doing this? And why is this person just, this bad thing happened, and now they're just accepting every bad thing that's happening to them? I'm like, why would they do that? That doesn't make sense. And then it gets to the end, and like in the penultimate episode, a character shows up who turns out to be massively fucking important, but has no reason to be there and has no real reason to get involved in what's going on. Just kind of does because they're there, I guess. And it's like, it's almost like the story didn't have that, and the TV producers are like, oh, we need a guy to show up and kind of wrap this thing up. Okay, put him in it. Like, I'm sure that didn't happen, but that's what it felt like. And I was just so watching this last episode thinking, okay, well, they're going to wrap some things up, and they're gonna tidy up these loose ends and make it feel like it was worth that effort that I put in to watch the damn thing. And they just didn't. And I even now I'm like,
I can tell how angry you are.
Honestly, I can't get over it. I want to get over it. I really do. But it was so promising. Ava Green, she's a great actress. You know, the other characters in it, there are good people in this. And I say, you can do a lot with how good New Zealand looks. Just look at the Fellowship of the Ring. But it was just garbage. It was just such garbage and such a disappointment, because I really expected it to be this kind of lush, kind of mildly fantasy, mildly historical thing, be quite cool, and it just was just fucking garbage, man. So if you're out there and you're thinking, I might watch The Luminaries because I like Ava Green, don't, because she's got an infuriating accent through the whole thing as well, where I have no idea where the hell she's meant to be from. Like, I know she's French, but I have no idea where she was from. It drove me nuts. There's a guy. Yeah, sorry, I'll stop now. I'll stop. I'm done.
So as you were just saying that, so TV shows we really don't need. Have you seen that fucking Warner Brothers have just ordered a spin-off TV series for the Batman? You know, the new film that's coming out.
Oh, yes, and it's a Gotham PD series.
It's Gotham.
Exactly.
Like,
Yet another.
You know what? Yeah, like, you know what worked? What the idea was really well, but then it didn't really work out that good. But then got really good, and then just dropped off the world. Gotham. So you know what we should do? Let's do another show, but we'll call it Gotham PD.
I don't.
It's the same fucking thing.
Can someone tell me who watched Batman, any of the Batman films, and thought, you know what I really want to see? I want to see the normal police. Like, who? Who's watching it? Who's watching any Batman film? I don't care which one you pick. Batman and Robin, fucking Batman Returns, Batman Begins. You pick. You choose. Who watches
Batman
that and
Forever,
goes, Batman
I would
Forever?
probably go in. Oh, you don't wonder what the police are up to because this film's fucking awful. I wonder the police must be doing something fun.
Well, that was part of the problem with Gotham. I think at first they didn't really want to go all in on all the supervillains and stuff, but as it went on, it just got out of hand until you have it's just flooded with all these characters. It was insane.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed it towards the end of it, but it was a struggle. If I didn't have Oliver, I wouldn't have got through it because when he was struggling with the colic. He was struggling with colic and couldn't sleep. He would only sleep in my arms. So when everyone was sleeping, I'd just put Gotham on with subtitles and just get through the series. That's how I did it.
One thing that got me with Gotham, right? It's the same thing I mentioned last episode about Into Darkness. So again, there's Gotham spoilers here, and I admit they're kind of half-known spoilers because I've not actually watched this part of the show, so I don't ever know. But it was the character who was the actor who was Cal Kestis in Fallen Order.
Oh yeah, the Joker.
Yeah, the character who for however long in build-up they're like, oh, he's not the Joker. Oh, he's not the Joker. Of course he's not the Joker.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, he's the Joker. It's like, come on, guys.
Well, no. Oh, by the way, his twin brother. Sorry, spoilers.
His identical twin brother. It's like,
that's because they did so much to him that it's just by the end of it, they're like, yeah, we're going to struggle to make this guy the Joker.
But that's my thing. Like, to say, like, people watching that for a year going, well, he's the Joker, right? Obviously, he's the Joker. Look at him. He's the Joker. No, he's not. No, he's not. It's like, oh, no, well, he's not. It's his identical twin brother that is. I'm like, fuck you, man. Fuck you, Gotham producers. That is just it's a shitty cop-out to say that you were right because he wasn't the Joker after all, like you said he was. It's this guy. That's just, yeah, like I say, same gripe I have with Into Darkness. He's not Khan. He's not Khan. Oh, he is. He's not the Joker. He's not the Joker. He kind of is.
Absolutely. That's exactly it.
That makes me mad. But again, like, you're putting Batman villains up against regular police. All you're doing is either saying, A, the police can never win, or B, the police can win, and therefore Batman is not necessary. So it's kind of,
Yeah, that's pretty much what that entire series is.
Yeah, it's like, either you guys lose, or you don't need Batman, but there's no in between, So.
Yeah. Yeah, when you put it like that, you're like, they're in a no-win situation, really, aren't they?
Yeah. But speaking of series that I am more excited about, though, they announced today that they're doing a new Star Wars Disney Plus animated series.
Yes,
I've still never seen any of the Star Wars animated series.
Well, you know what? I would say you're missing out. Now, the Clone Wars can be a bit of a slog at times because it's 7 series, and there is some filler in there. But there are some really good arcs as well, and some really good bits in there, and it does quite a good job at kind of retconning some of the prequel stuff and making it fit with everything else. It does quite well at that. And season 7, I think I've mentioned before, 2/3 of it is excellent television. 1/3 of it is a garbage waste of time. But one of those good 2/3 is all about the Bad Batch, and all about who they are and like their bit in this. And they're really interesting characters.
So what are they? Because that's what it's called, isn't it? The new series is the Bad Batch.
The idea is, given all the clone troopers are all the same, the Bad Batch is a batch of clones where they tried to enhance certain elements of them, and it didn't really work, and it all kind of gave them weird like personalities and differences and all that kind of stuff. It kind of messed them up a little bit, but made them like super enhanced in some way, but kind of fucked them over somehow in something else. So they're not really put out there, they're kind of a separate, like almost like a commando unit, because they're a bit nuts and like gung-ho and want to go crazy and blow stuff up. But it was a really interesting 4-episode arc where they featured in it. So now they're getting their own series on Disney Plus. And I'm all for that because it's interesting. I think with it they can do something like they did with Rogue One, which is introduce something a little bit darker, a bit actual like gritty war, as opposed to polished shiny white armor. It's people who can sneak in and do the dirty work. So I'm up for that. I'm interested. It's full. I mean, the whole group is full of cliche. It's basically an 80s action film in a team, You know, you got the big strong guy who's a bit dumb. You got the little glasses wearing computer hacker. You got the creepy sniper who's a murderer and all that kind of stuff. Like cliches galore, but a lot of fun to watch.
It sounds fun.
Yeah, it's one of the things that I really wish I got into. And for ages, I've just constantly used the excuse, I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. And then when I was saying to Ash before, and I was saying to you the other day, is I've listened to over 400 odd hours of Critical Role in a year. Turns out I have time. I don't know where it came from, but I've got time, so I should have time to be able to start watching this sort of stuff. I watched Castlevania Series 1 of Castlevania on Netflix, the animated one, and it was fucking phenomenal, really good. And 3's coming out soon. I was like, oh shit, I haven't even got around to watching season 2 yet. I really, really enjoyed that. And there's so much stuff that I've just thought, I haven't got time for that. I can't do that. But I genuinely obviously have, because if I can listen to that for 450 odd hours, I could definitely play or watch something.
One thing I'll put out there, Reg, because you mentioned Critical Role before, and obviously Nerd OD has its own D&D based podcast, Nerd OD&D. Check it out on all your favorite podcast sites. But Adventure Zone, you should listen to the Adventure Zone because it's so great, and it's have you heard of it?
Yes. So so what happened? I'm boring a lot of people. Was I was in the gym listening to a podcast. I think it was Hollywood Babylon, and then it was because it was the latest one. I think Stitcher was just like, "Hey, here's something else. It's a podcast," and it threw out this it's called The Search for Grog, and it was completely after season 1 of Critical Role, campaign 1, and they call it a one shot, so it's just a one-off story, and it was a couple of hours long, and I was like, all right, okay. But I was in the middle of doing a run, so I couldn't stop it. So I started listening to it, and I was like, you know what, that was really fun. But to go and listen to campaign 1, they weren't aware how good it was going to be. So it was just shoddily recorded, and they didn't really have much of a clue of what was going on.
Is it like ours?
Yeah, a bit like ours, but our sound quality recording is better.
Oh, wow, okay.
Surprisingly. So I was just like, I couldn't get into it. So I was like, what else is good if you like Critical Role? Because I didn't want to start campaign 2 because I hadn't listened to campaign 1. So everyone was like, the Adventure Zone, the Adventure Zone. It's like, cool. So I listened to 3 episodes of the Adventure Zone. I was like, what else is good if you haven't listened to campaign 1 of Critical Role and you weren't a massive fan of Adventure Zone? And they're like, campaign 2 has nothing to do with campaign 1 of Critical Role, and it sounds brilliant now. Like, oh, I'll give that a go. And then I genuinely, from the very first episode, sort of fell in love with 2 of the characters. I just thought, you know what, they're so clever with what they've done. So I was like, I'll give that another listen to. And then it just became something to listen to while I was recording. So
100 hours later.
Yeah. Well, I didn't even realise it. It's just I was on, they celebrated their 100th episode this month, just gone for campaign 2. And I was like, wow, 100 episodes. Each one's just shy of 5 hours.
Jesus Christ.
4 to 5 hours. And
5-hour episodes.
Yeah. But the thing is, I know it sounds long, and I know it is long, but it genuinely isn't. When you start, you don't even realise it. And because I work from literally just the laptop, and I can have an episode on, I can go through 2 a day, just listening to that instead of music while I work away. But it's just I got really invested in the characters from the start, and I was like, you know what, they've done it really well, and I will. Now I'm going to finish campaign 2. I'll probably do Adventure Zone because I know for a fact that that's nowhere near as long each episode. And then when that's finished, I'll go do campaign 1 of Critical Role. Because campaign 1 of Critical Role has 130, I think it is, episodes. And they're all 4 hours each one. But it's the Matt Mercer